Oh, hello everybody. Uh haven't live streamed for a while, so catching up with you guys. Finally there seems to be some really good news coming out of Thailand. Let me just double check everything's going on. It's not the first time the sound hasn't worked. Wait, why is the sound not working? Sound to MacBook Pro. Hello. 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 Okay, it's all good. It's all good. So, yeah, basically, everything's going as predicted. Actually, even better than predicted, I would say, because although I sort of suspected this could happen in February, um, I guess I sort of have I curb my expectations and I expect the worst, but it's going relatively as assumed. So they're getting rid of all this quarantining stuff starting February 1st. And you just sort of have to do day 1 and day 5 this new test and go scheme. I really wish they changed this. Like whenever Thailand has like a program, they say it's a scheme, and I sort of feel like I'm getting schemed out of it. But yeah, well, it's the new test and go scheme, but that's good news. Definitely better than quarantining or doing the Phuket sandbox scheme. Uh, Going forward, I just sort of see positive things coming out of Thailand lately, which is very assuring because for the longest time, I would just hear negative and negative and negative news. For example, I do get these news updates. To be completely honest with you guys, I've been sort of detached from Thailand. I'm doing my thing here in Korea for now, and I didn't expect good things to happen soon, but I think Thailand's getting to that boiling point, and finally, like the authorities are making concessions, not only to, expats, but also to the public in particular. I'm not sure if you guys are aware. The latest news is there's this cop that just sort of ran over model pedestrian. She was like an eye doctor, like a highly qualified one. I believe she went to Harvard, somewhere in the States. She got her training. And there was like a cop that was driving an unregistered motorcycle that ran her over one of these zebra crossings. So not only is this cop in Thailand, you could usually like do this monkhood thing, and sort of avoid going to jail, but even the monks sort of declined him. It looks like the police are actually really putting this guy up and prosecuting him, which isn't always the case. So it looks like Thailand's taking this very seriously, which is good news. And it's sort of further spilling out. I mean, this particular news is probably to the aftermath. Now Thailand's and the citizens are quite concerned about public safety on the roads, which is one of the big issues. And I mean, I've been saying it for the longest time, and people say, "Oh, you're putting your life on the line to drive a motorcycle," and I'm like, I feel more in danger as a pedestrian, and only someone who isn't so like completely like ignorant or just closed-minded would notice that. If you have driven a motorcycle in Thailand, like a scooter, you would realize you probably have a better chance of survival than walking around as a pedestrian. But for example, you can see like this faint line here. I sort of know where this is. Um, this guy, he's this is sort of illegal. I don't know. I got pulled over by cops right here. There should be a police stop right here, but it's like a very interesting area where it's like part of Sukhumvit. And then there's like this expressway that comes out of it, and the cars are going really, really fast, and you're supposed to have pedestrians be able to walk across it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's super dangerous. Because even when I was trying to cross this with a motorcycle, I had to time it perfectly well. And because there's just cars zooming by. And if you're a pedestrian and you're walking, by the time you're like a quarter of the way, like you'll have a car come out of the blind spot, and it's really hard to avoid it. So it's good that they're, painting sidewalks, etc. Making sure road safety is good. But I mean, just not only that, but I just see a lot of sort of positive news. I mean, the latest news is that uh, it's sort of positive and good news. If you're going to be a retiree, they're going to allow you to start using your insurance from your home country. Now, there's like a lot of catches to that, and it counteracts with the fact that they're now requiring um, health insurance equivalent to like 100,000 US dollars roughly. Uh, so, I mean, but I think we've sort of known this all along. Thailand, and particularly Bangkok, is no longer sort of budget, retire cheap country. You know, like I totally see it becoming just as expensive, if not more expensive than Korea very soon. You know, um, yeah. Seriously, I'm not making this up just to like hype up Korea, but I'm telling you guys, it's just like even like 5, 10 years ago, Korea was still much cheaper, considering your earning power here, which I've been saying forever. So, I mean, Bangkok only had the edge because if you're like a retiree with a fixed income and you're not reliant on income over there, then yeah, you could get things slightly cheaper, etc. But like with Korea, um, you definitely have far more earning power. So it just goes a long way, I think. But whatever the case, this is sort of to be expected. If you're going to retire, you're not going to retire cheap in Thailand anymore. But they are sort of coming to age with like first world country standards, I guess. So, I mean, why would you have to get insurance from Thailand when you have just as good, companies outside? And quite frankly, like a lot of these Thailand insurers, AIA, etc., they're international companies. They're big companies that are multinational companies. So, yeah, I really didn't see the point of them requiring only insurance from Thailand, other than it just sort of guarantees more that you have coverage. But also, I was reading up on it, and it said that if you are going to get insurance from somewhere else, it's just going to require a lot of paperwork. And it's mainly going to be used for you to get an approval from the Thai embassy from your home country to get that retirement visa. Once you're in Thailand, you have to sort of prove why you can't get insurance within Thailand, because um it seems that a lot of old people, they can't get coverage from Thailand because they're just too old. So insurers won't cover them in Thailand. So I guess this sort of is like there's a lot of wealthy people who could cover themselves, and money isn't an issue, but it's just like the technicalities. So it's more of a law to just go over that technicality and continue to have high spending tourists come into Thailand. So overall, um what this tells me is what we've been sort of suspecting. Thailand sort of closed themselves off to tourists for a while now, and I think um, they're coming to a recognition finally that Thailand isn't able to survive without tourists. Tourists are an essential part of the economy over there. Even if like the top dogs, like this top corporations, etc., can operate and make profit, um, like your average citizen, they're highly dependent on tourists. So yeah, that's what it is. It's finally getting to a breaking point, and we're getting concessions. So this is all good news. As far as numbers, you see it spiking, but I'm not seeing this as a big deal. Here in Korea as well, it's even worse. Right now, Thailand's around, oh, wow, that's really high. I don't know how that went up to, like, one day it went up, like, to 25,000, but on average, it seems like it's gone up to about, 9,000, 10,000. So, like, below 10,000. Like, Korea, it's gone up, like, today it just really spiked to 16. On average, it's going up to, like, 10,000 here. Um, and I just read a really interesting article that a lot of scientists are researching what's happening in Africa, and Africa sort of reached that golden level of having the infections become a sort of an endemic, because this latest wave, the Omicron, I mean, all the data shows that it's significantly less deadly. I mean, everybody can sort of agree on this, it seems. Anti-vaxxers, vaxxers are like, I don't think there's anybody out there now like thinking Omicron is more deadly than Delta. This is sort of universal news. But they were quite surprised that at how much of the population was getting infected in Africa. In Africa, there is like nobody that's, well, no, I'm not saying nobody, but a majority of the people aren't vaccinated. So because they have been exposed to a lot of the other variants over the years, they say that's why it's sort of becoming an endemic. And their sort of case study is showing that, just moving on, not like trying to do this impossible task of 100% controlling it is what is acceptable. And this is pretty big news, I think, because this, like, I read several articles on mainstream media, right? So that tells me like the overall scientific community is now sort of leaning the other way to sort of, at this point, it's like sort of impossible to completely control it. And that's sort of what it is in Korea as well. I mean, Korea, as you can see, like, if it goes any higher, like this was a really high peak right here. They just put in a ton of regulations, they dropped it and they controlled it. And then this was around when they were like October, late 2021. They're like, oh, we're just gonna live with COVID. Everyone's sort of vaccinated over 80%. And then it just went up just so high that they had to put in restrictions again back to sort of what it was back here. And it did drop it. But then again, like, it's not like the restrictions have gotten looser. It's like the same amount of restrictions, but the public is just like, screw it. Omicron isn't deadly. So it's just gone up. And I expect this number to go up even more because it's Chinese New Year, which, the official term should be Lunar New Year, because it is New Year's for pretty much every Eastern country out here, from way down in Southeast Asia to Vietnam, Tet, Malaysia. There's huge Chinese communities. Like, everybody in Asia sort of celebrates Lunar New Year, including Koreans. It's probably like their biggest holiday, along with their Thanksgiving. And they're expecting a lot of cases, but it, as a matter of fact, they loosened the restrictions. So Korea is just sort of like, it's not a big deal anymore, and they're just going to a point where they're just going to manage the cases at home. So I just had a personal experience with this because my cousin, I've been. You don't see me like live stream a lot from my cousin's place, but I mean, I did one or two. Because he's always studying and such, and I don't want to be sitting here and yapping away at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. because that's the only time I really have time. But I've been staying with my cousin for about a good 2 months. Like, I've come back to my parents' place maybe a total of like a week within the last 2 months, and so I'm with him all the time. And he got Omicron, right? So he just told me yesterday night, he's like, I have really bad news. Somebody I met on Monday is telling me he has the same symptoms as me, and I have a headache and stuff like this. So um, it was yesterday night. So like it was like, because so it was like the day before yesterday evening, yesterday early morning, night. and I already planned to be with my parents, so, for Lunar New Year, and I didn't have any symptoms. So on the way here, I took a PCR test yesterday, and this morning I got the results, and he got the results, and he is positive Omicron. I am negative. So, um, as infectious as Omicron might be, I mean, for being somebody, because like that evening, I was eating dinner with him. I cooked dinner for him, and we're chatting. And this was like right before he was showing the most severe symptoms. So it should have been the most contagious period, but he wasn't coughing at all or anything. There's like no indicator that he had, you know, like Omicron for sure, because all the symptoms he displays are just sort of like, sort of mild flu, heavy cold symptoms, which is the same as what my sister displayed because she got Omicron too. And in her situation, my brother-in-law never even got it. So as infectious as this is, I don't think it's that infectious at this point now because if they're saying this is far more infectious than Delta, and I didn't get infected, I'm in the same place. My sister brother-in-law didn't. Then I'm like, how it must have not been that infectious with the Delta variant, right? But whatever the case, I'm not infected. So I'm here, and he wasn't coughing, and both of them had the same symptoms. They just had scratchy throat. Um, they had a fever and chills for about a day, and they're good. Now you have to consider this. Him, my sister, everybody, we've been all vaccinated twice. So yeah, there it is. So, I think basically, I mean, it's not just one case, but all the cases I know so far, sure, like there might be some very physically ill people, like if they're above 60. I think like 80% of the severe hospitalizations in Korea are people over the age of 60. So, as long as you're not very old, you're relatively young, you're double vaccinated, all the science is just gonna sort of point now, towards this not being that big of an issue where you have to quarantine people and kill your economy over it. So I think this isn't that big of a deal that these numbers are going up. Before you would hear me say, I know these numbers are going to go up and Thailand's going to just put up more restrictions, and I've been pretty spot on about that. But mark my words now, these numbers are going to go up, and maybe if it like exponentially goes up from here to like all the way up here, yeah, Thailand might just sort of put down some measures, but I don't think it'll be that extreme. Like, oh, we're gonna just stop all international travel. They'll probably just do a 10-day or something like that again. But most likely, I think it'll probably go up to about here. Because what this tells me, and that example of Africa, is that the more you're exposed to previous variants, the less likely, um, the more endemic it becomes. You know, and Korea has done a fantastic job of containing COVID and preventing it. And I think that is the reason why you're having these sharp cases now, because a lot of the public hasn't been exposed to the previous variants uh, of COVID, because it's like I don't think there's any other country that masks up as well as Korea and just make sure they're hygienically clean and haven't been spreading it. So I think Korea understands this. Now it's just we're just gonna move on to like a vaccination phase, and we're gonna want to sort of see this or what's probably happening in Africa. Actually, I'm curious what's happening in Africa. Let's see, Rwanda, for example. I don't know. That's only that right? They even have numbers for Rwanda? Who knows? Actually, these numbers from Africa are pretty unreliable, I imagine. Kenya is a big country. Okay, let's see what happened. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that. I mean, I don't think people in Kenya are that vaccinated. It seems like it's very consistent. You have a spike, it drops, like a new variant, it drops, drops. The Omicron seems to have been very infectious, huger spike, and it drops. Like, it's like and, I'm pretty sure they're not as, vaccinated. Let me see. Kenya vaccinated vaccination rate, they have it. Cool. 6 million, in a population of what? Oh, population fully vaccinated, only like 9.8%. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I don't want to get into this argument of I'm a anti-vaxxer or vaxxer or whatever, but just look at the numbers and let it speak for itself. Countries that haven't really vaccinated as well, like for example, Thailand didn't vaccinate as well as Korea because Korea is like very good at vaccinating. Blah blah blah. Look at this chart. Seems like it's not as bad. Um, Korea. Look at this chart. You know, like countries that haven't been vaccinating well, you know, it's even better than Thailand. Let's see, India. Oh, India is like pretty bad. I don't know what their vaccination rate is. 40 million? I don't know. Let's see, United States. USA. They've been vaccinating. I think they're in between Thailand and Korea, I would say. United. Why is it not showing up? Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that. Boom. Very similar to India, actually. Yeah. Anyways, there doesn't really seem to be a straight up correlation between unvaccinated, like a country is more vaccinated and the cases. If anything, it shows a negative correlation. If they haven't been vaccinating well, it seems like the cases aren't as high this time around. Um, so, yeah, I think like it's really hard. Like, I think the data is just all pointing that way. As a mathematician, I see it that way. As a scientist, you might see it another way. I'm not discounting it, but whatever the case, I think something that's sure is just going forward. I think there is gonna be less of this. Hey, we're gonna just try to prevent it and have like completely get rid of like COVID. I don't think that's gonna happen. So going forward, I think we will consistently see good news in regards to travel restrictions being lifted off of Thailand. And you know, as far as the expat community, etc., it's good that there's like certain changes being made over there. Um, I expect I'm a little less positive about expat life being better, be retiring cheap being better per se, but I am far more like, you know, this then inevitably I get this question, oh, what are you gonna do with your condo? Um, Expat life being better doesn't necessarily correlate into is my condo a good investment or not? You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, I believe it's a negative correlation. It's like it, expat life has zero to do with real estate prices. So I already got my worth use out of buying that condo because I've stayed there long enough where I sort of broke even with the amount of rent I saved, and I got it at a price that is super low. And it's already appreciated, and contrary to what people have been thinking, home prices haven't fallen down that much. And it's certainly still worth significantly more than when I originally bought it. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm just holding on to it because um, I don't really plan on like the more I stay in Korea, the more I am sort of clear that I don't want to be an expat in Thailand, you know? A long-term tourist, that's where I'm sort of leaning towards. Um, and I think Thailand would prefer me being a long-term tourist that brings in more money from a country where I can earn a lot more. And yeah, like all their regulations, etc., it is going towards helping and attracting long-term tourists. So the longer you stay there, I mean, it's just you're just a ticking time bomb. Like your life, like your good times are numbered if you're just gonna be there making, 500-600 bucks a month being an English teacher. Sure, you might have a great time for who knows how long. Even if you are on a pension or whatever and you got to fix, $2,000, who knows how long you're gonna have a good life with that with the rate of inflation right now, right? So, I mean, that's why I've been saying for the longest time, like, oh, people ask me, how much do I need to permanently retire in Thailand? I'm like, that's ridiculous. You can never predict that. And there's always never enough, but even the most little is enough depending on your mindset. If you're open-minded, you're willing to adjust, change your lifestyle. Just you don't have to have that much money because no amount of money is gonna guarantee that it's gonna be enough. And I still stand by that because you really don't know the rate of inflation. I mean, and that was the point I didn't even expect like this worldwide inflation and prices. Uh, but it's just common knowledge that developing countries are gonna have inflation at a higher rate than a developed country, and that is actually a sign of a healthy country. It's like if Thailand wasn't having prices inflate at a higher rate than the West, which is already developed, with all the infrastructure and blah 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 laid in, that's probably there's a big problem over there. Like that would be like Myanmar or Cambodia or whatever. And even actually, I'll take that back because Cambodia is the prices are inflating at a ridiculous rate, particularly in like Sihanoukville and stuff like that, where all that Chinese money was pouring in. I don't know lately because Chinese real estate development has really taken a hit. But yeah, I mean, what does that mean for me? I think I had perfect timing. Like I just sort of move with the flow, and for me, I think I was in Thailand at the best time for being an expat. Uh, Unless, I could turn back the clock even more and I had the realization that I was able to do this even earlier. So if yeah, I wish I was in my 20s, but the days are just not as good anymore in Thailand. They've just become a lot more conservative. Like at that time, it was sort of when I was sort of more experimenting with, my sexuality and stuff like that, right? Whatever. Not like in a gay way, but just like being a little bit more promiscuous. Um, I mean, I already saw that they're becoming a lot more conservative and etc. It's just I don't expect this to turn around, guys. Don't hold your breath. You're just gonna piss yourself off. Like, and now I'm in sort of in a stage of my life where I'm just far more interested in becoming a better film developer, uh, videographer, Korean American expat. Hey, what's up, man? Good to see you on. Uh, what do you think, man? Are you Korean American? Are you if I don't get me wrong, but can't remember if you were gonna head over to Thailand or if you're watching my videos to head over to Korea or like a lot of people are like, oh, I want to go to Thailand, but I'm watching your videos and now I'm also wanting to visit Korea a lot. So yeah, I mean, so overall, long story short, I don't plan on selling my condo there in Thailand at all. Why? Because I only expect the prices to appreciate because of inflation. And I think it's a great long-term vacation spot. Um, I know when I was in Thailand, I said, man, if it was me, I would try to come in the low season, like April, May, June, um, when prices are just a lot cheaper, it's not as crowded and touristy and not as smoggy because smog is just the worst. And for like the last 2 years, people haven't been experiencing it as much because the factories haven't been operating full steam. Same here in Korea, like air has been fantastic, which is very rare. But when things turn back to normal, expect those seasons to be bad smog seasons. So I try to avoid it, but that was before when I'm like coming from California, when all seasons are sort of pretty pleasant. As a matter of fact, the winters in California are probably far more pleasant because the summer is just hot as hot AF. So if I had the choice, it's gonna be hot. I don't want to be running AC in my house. So I would choose to come to Thailand during the non-peak seasons, right? But living here in Korea, I really am one of those people that doesn't like the cold. Given that I'm getting a lot more used to the cold out here, and being that Korea, you just have to live here to know. Um, the first year I was staying with my parents in the winter in this house, and it's super cold because it's sort of like out in the mountains, which was good because and you didn't know what was going on with COVID or whatever, and I really like the countryside. It was good, but one bad downside is the gas is really expensive because they give you like those like a truck driver has to like deliver these tanks of gas. So like gas is like 5, 6, 7 times more expensive, and that's what's used to heat the floors. So but when I was staying with my cousin this winter, because it's in the city, gas is super cheap. So it's like heating is like huge, like 3-bedroom apartment. It's like a month it costs maybe like $40, $50. I mean, it's not that much, but it's like super warm. And that's why you'll see like Koreans always sitting on the ground because it's just super duper warm. And so it's like the cold hasn't really been an issue for me at all. I'm sweating inside. I'm like wearing short sleeves inside. And unlike like a heater in America where it's like a dry heat because they're pushing like dry air and it's like just really bad, not filtered. It's different because the heat is em- like emitting off the ground. It's just you'll realize it's not that big of a deal. So being that you have all year to just enjoy the outdoors and stuff, in the winter it's not that you can't enjoy the outdoors. As a matter of fact, I went hiking, and I'll show you like after I talk about Thailand and all this, I'll sort of show you what I've been up to. But it was like the hikes were actually very pleasant. And I was actually wearing like just a shirt. Instead, I brought like jackets just in case. I thought it'd be cold, like hiking in 0-degree temperature, but it was far more pleasant than hiking in the summer. Because summer was just like I was dying and I had to carry so many bottles of water. Karina, I'm just hanging out here in Korea just like you are. I'm just working on my thing and just going to wait it out. Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah, that's cool. So you're in the same shoe. Um, yeah, so overall, just like the Korean American expats, I I sort of stand by my original plan. So I planned everything around this, so I don't want to change it. But I will say things are going more positive than negative, which is good news as far as being able to travel to Thailand. Because ideally, I wanted them to sort of just have this kind of situation in like December when I wrapped up everything, so I could go enjoy Thailand for like 2, 3 months, come back when things like start getting warm, so I can travel on my motorcycle and enjoy all the outdoorsy stuff. And then when like all the programs, the tourist travel programs and stuff are in full bloom, I just want to focus on that and make a lot of content come, you know, May, June, July. I mean, because like at this point, even if Thailand had zero restrictions and it was gonna cost me zero money to go to well, okay, well, that's a bit different. If it costs zero money, then I'll just go back and forth. But whatever. Um, i- in the summer, spring, and fall, Korea is just a lot more enjoyable. I'm just gonna put it out there. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate sometimes for it, but when the weather is good here, it's just a lot more enjoyable for me. I'm not saying it's gonna be like that for everybody. If you're like Russian or whatever and you've never had tropical um, environments and climates, and it's like you're always used to the freezing cold or whatever. Great, more power to you. Thailand's gonna offer like a good variety to that. But I've sort of lived in tropical climates all my life. You know, I lived in Africa and I lived in uh, California. Palm trees, the beach is very normal to me. So you know, it's a testament that I really like Thailand, and I don't always consider going back there as my second home because it's like other aspects of Thailand that I enjoy, right? Their culture, the people, etc. Um, but as far as like nature and stuff like that, to me, Korea is just a lot more interesting. And not only that, it's just much more convenient and safer to travel here in Korea. Um, the roads are just fantastic. And contrary to what anybody says, it's just they're ignorant if they think otherwise. The Korean roads are like the safest. I would like Bangkok, I would drive a scooter, but I would, yeah, I'm like, I don't like even when I went to Udon Thani, I was just driving around the city there. I felt in danger, you know. So I really wouldn't. If it's like maybe if somehow I could get a motorcycle in the complete outskirts, where there aren't a lot of cars, like you know that road from Chiang Mai to Pai is not bad. Although the beginning like hour or like 3 hours, depending on if there's traffic, is gonna be scary AF because traffic in Chiang Mai is like it's like crazy. Like they're doing crazy stuff with these big trucks. But once you get sort of onto the outskirt lane, where there's not that many people, that was the only time I sort of experienced. Okay, this is pretty decent place to travel. But um, like in Korea, it's just a lot more convenient and safer. Not only just traveling with a motorcycle, which is what I like to do, but even if I was to take a bus or whatever, it's just like it, it's it's so much convenient. Like let me tell you, if you want to go from Bangkok to Koh Chang on a bus in Thailand, you have to go all the way to Khao San Road, fight traffic, get there in an hour, 2 hours, book it with a travel agent. Um, at the end of the day, it's still going to cost you 20, $30 or whatever, right? And the buses are I don't know. You half the times it's gonna be smelly AF, right? With the toilets, if you ever been there. Like it's a hit or miss. Like sometimes it's good, clean, and sometimes it's bad. Sometimes the only rest stop you're gonna get is a tourist trap, where you got to pay for the bathrooms and all this crap. And who knows if the food they serve is gonna be sanitary? I don't know. Um, and then if you go to like the other route that we tried, which we regret. Like when we were gonna go to Koh Chang, we just took the local bus instead of the tourist VIP bus because we don't want to travel all the way to Khao San Road just to get a bus ticket and then travel all the way back there again. Because I mean, this alone, the taxi ride, as cheap as it is, it's another $20, you know. Um, so that's like 40, $50, you know, just to travel one way. If I went to um Khao San Road to take a bus, and this is why we just usually take an airplane. It's just sort of becomes stupid to take a bus, but you know, Koh Chang there is no airplane, so we go to the local bus station, and the local buses are just meh. And then you still do have to go and book it the day before, so that's at least I could drive my motorcycle there. But if you don't, it's like it's still gonna end up costing you like $40. Okay, but this is how it is in Korea. Like you never make any appointments, whatever. You just hop on public transport. It doesn't matter if you're like located 3 hours outside of Seoul, the center of Seoul. All the bus and the subway stations are connected, so you only pay like one fare. You don't pay like a fare to get on a bus and then transfer to a subway station, another fare, and then you pay another because you got to get on a bus. You just pay one fare. You take the bus and you pay like the standard $1.50, and then you get on the subway. And because you're transferring and the systems are smart enough to recognize that when you're using your card, they just tag on an extra 10 cents. And then you get on a bus after you get out of the subway and they tag on another 10 cents. So it's like pretty much just one fare to get anywhere. And then once you get there, it's like it doesn't matter what time you come, like anywhere from 5 a.m. to 12 p.m., you're pretty much good to go. There's gonna be a bus to any random remote area of Korea in like every 15 to 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? It's so convenient. The only time you sort of have to worry about this is during like big holidays like Lunar New Year, Korean Thanksgiving. This is a mistake that a lot of expats make because they don't realize, and that's usually when they get vacation too, because they're like English teachers. So they give them on vacation, they're like, oh, I'm gonna travel, and they think it's gonna be just like any other time, and then they realize everything's booked out like 2 weeks in advance. So, but if you're like a sort of semi-retired guy like me, or someone on fixed income, you don't really care. It's so convenient. So I don't have to deal with any of that. No tourist traps. Everything is straightforward. And my Korean ain't all that good. I could still even get by doing all of this in English. Like worst case scenario, it will be a little bit more inconvenient because I'll have to like say I don't speak and then English, and they'll have to bring a translator or something. But you could at least get it done. You know. Um, it's not that big of a deal. And sure, in Thailand, one positive I do give for them is all these like areas where, aside from the local bus station, you might have to speak Thai, but most areas you could just like speak English and they will completely be able to accommodate for you. Like, okay, and then this, let me just put it into perspective. Like, I would say 95% of the time, if you're at least in Bangkok, or just going to the touristy areas, you'll get English accommodation. In Korea, I would put that more like 80%, you know? But once you know the know-how, um, or you just are willing to spend time to wait for them to get you a translator, um, y- y- like they will accommodate you 100% of the time. You know what I'm saying? So if you're here long enough and you're like sort of an expat, you would have already downloaded all the apps in English that have English, so you could book your buses and all this stuff. And you never even need to talk to anybody. That's the thing in Korea. You never need to have cash. You just use one card, and you don't even need to really talk to anybody. You could just get everything done if you really wanted to. And if you're a tourist, there's just so many services available for you. And as a matter of fact, like if I take the VIP bus equivalent, like a tourist bus with a tour that's all included, they give you more of a discount as a tourist. So if you're a tourist, there is double pricing here. You get a lower price. In Thailand, you get a higher price if you're a tourist. But here, if you're a tourist and you show like a foreign passport, you get like discounts at the duty free store. Like, oh, you're a tourist, we give you more of a discount. Even like these buses, these tours, they're only available for tourists that show a passport that's not Korean, and it's at a discount. So, um, and never mind like influencers, even influencers with like 1,500 followers on Instagram, they're getting free trips, all paid trips, 2 days, like 2 nights, whatever, one night, flight, bus, hotel, food, all of it included. So, it's been really good. Um, that being said, yeah, I mean, enough about comparing Korea to Thailand. You get the point. I'm not going to be going to Thailand middle of this year because there's just so much to do, and Korea is treating me really well. So even with this thing going live February, I'm thinking, oh, realistically, it's already February. So if I went through this application process, and even though it's less of a hassle, it's manageable, it's just not worth it for me. I don't want to jump through the hoops and loops. And then at the earliest, I see myself going there like, what day is it? If I'm lucky, mid-February, but that's very optimistic because I know like how bureaucracy operates and paperwork operates in Thailand. Most likely, I'll get there March. Then I'm only gonna spend like a month there because April is I really want to be here. That's my birthday. That's when spring is around. I want to go to Jeju Island. Hopefully, this year, like, I'm pretty sure the COVID freak out isn't gonna be as big, so they're not gonna like Last year they basically mowed all the yellow flowers, the yucca flowers, which it's very popular for, so people don't go and take pictures, like so people don't gather. This year that won't be happening, is my expectation. So yeah, I really want to go to Jeju Island again this April. Um, and then from then on, there's just going to be a lot of programs, and I'll be busy back to back making content. Um, so it's really not worth it for me. But the positive news is positive news because really, I would really, really, really like to be spending my winter in Thailand next year. So hopefully I wrap up everything December, and I'm willing to sort of, yeah, go to Thailand January, February. Um, and then that would be most ideal. And if I do have like a 2-3 week break, what I'm really hoping for is Japan to open up so I could go stay with Mayu and make content there. So right now, Japan is really trying to contain things. They're more containment type of attitude than even Korea, which was pretty extreme. So they're not really opening up to foreigners, but they're also less dependent on foreign travelers, I guess, for their economy. So I totally get it. Yeah, and the other factor that I believe is gonna play to our advantage, as far as Thailand opening up, all these other countries. As a matter of fact, the guys are talking about going to the Philippines because the Philippines, I think, is even less of a requirement. You just need to show a test. So actually, I might just go to the Philippines because it might be just good to hang out with them for a month, and like zero work, like a month might even be too long, maybe 2 weeks or something. So yeah, there's a lot of competition coming from all here and there, like Bali, Vietnam, Thailand. They all want the tourists. Like, look, Bali hoping Bill Gates' planned April visit could boost tourism. All these people are wishing on a prayer that tourism gonna return back to normal when they're just like putting all these hoops and loops around tourists traveling. But I think the only like real desperate, the people that just really need to get the heck out of their country for whatever personal reason, are doing that. And you're not going to have the mass tourism until they really lift their borders. So I'm just going to hold out, and so far it's worked. I mean it's going to work one way or another, regardless of whether I hold out or other people hold out. Pandemic is going to become endemic, or people are just all going to die, and it will become endemic. Whatever the case, is going to get better. For now, I'm pretty happy with my situation in Korea. So yeah, moving on, what have I been up to in Korea? So I think since the last, I was just doing this. I just made a really short video for Soul Pass program. So this is like a simple program I did. They pay me a good $300 for it, which, again, let me remind you, I get paid $500 to work a whole month in Thailand. So I go out for a day, make a short video, like 30 seconds. Got paid $30, $300. That was good. And not to say I'm just like I'm a mercenary. This was really fun, like I haven't skated for a while, and honestly, this wouldn't have been something I chose to do with the Soul Pass, because when I researched it, I'm like, what? It's only like $3 to skate. This was really bad though, because this was during Christmas, so there's so many people. But it's only like $3 to go skate, and yeah, it's pretty fun. I used to rollerblade a lot, so skating sort of second nature to me. I think I'll go there, like, on a non-holiday when there's so many people, and then just, like, skate my heart out. It's really good exercise. Yeah, I think it's much better than paying a gym, like, 20 bucks, 30 bucks a month. Just go out and for that same money, you can skate for, like, 7 times. Like, I don't even have time to go skate 7 times. So that's good. This is pretty fun, but this is Sparta. This is my buddy Majid. Um, this is this isn't like, oh, I should have shown you. I did a pretty good, I think I did a pretty good I should be a stuntman. So that's what I did, and, let's see. Let's see here. Oh, why is it not moving? Come on, move, buddy. Froze. Oh, it was moving. Took a bunch of pictures, boom, boom. So that was really fun. And then I met up with my friend who's like a director, and then we had this delicious meal. And I was telling her, "Oh, I'm making like 300 bucks. It's so good." And she's like, "You're not charging enough, like you're killing the industry." And I'm like, "But I'm just like a minion down here, and I'll just take whatever I can because quite frankly, how much I was getting paid in Thailand. This is like more than makes me happy." And then I guess she sort of felt bad for me. So okay, this was me doing the Korea trekking thing, and I'll show you the merch I got later, but I love hiking, so I haven't been able to hike in the summer because I've been so busy. So I really want to do more hiking in the summer and spring because actually that's when it's the best. But I'm like, hey, you know what? This group of friends, they are like, hey, let's do this hiking program, and this was just a good excuse for me to get out there and hike. You know, these are drone shots. This is the only area in Seoul it's legal to fly a drone. So amazing though. It looks much better in the summer. But I hacked like 3 mountains and such. So, okay, well, this is just me playing board games, yeah, chilling with my cousin. A lot of this is from my Insta stories. If you guys wanna like connect with me and such, because I'm not able to live stream as much, please like follow me on Instagram, Live Travel Asia, same thing. You don't even need to have Instagram. Just go on your web browser and go, www.instagram.com/livetravelasia. You'll see me. So I give all these updates. Oh, and I've been so into Chinese food lately here. Chinese food in Korea is so good. Dare I say it's better than Thailand because in Bangkok it's good. I can't really say one is better than the other, but in Korea, it's more authentic to Chinese food because you have like a really huge Chinese population. So like when I go to this Terim area, and I hear there's another area in Kunde, there's just real Chinese people making Chinese food, and then there's like the Korean Chinese that's everywhere. That's even more popular than Korean food. And then I went shooting with my friend, and yeah, this is what we're doing. He's a huge director. He directs like all the top commercials here, like for Nike. He was doing like Pokemon stuff like this. He's the sound guy, and he's like the top sound guy. Does all the top variety shows, and my buddy's amazing. She bosses these guys around. She knows what she's doing. So we're doing something for ZDF, which is like a German news station. Germans might know. So if you see something about the Beijing Olympics and a docu series on how the aftermath of Korea ended up, that was us. And then all the drone shots were from me. So we did this, and then I took a bunch of pictures for her because I know she likes pictures, but she's so busy she doesn't have pictures. And then she's like, "Oh, you did a really good job. I'm gonna give you another job to shoot this thing here, this Squid Games thing." And I got chewed out because I didn't do a good enough job. But I learned so much, and I'm so grateful because like she doesn't have the time to do this. Like she needs to edit and get stuff out to her whatever deadline she has for big bucks. But she gave me an opportunity when she could have given it to someone who is gonna be solid performing for her because they already know the guidelines and all that and how to shoot and what she prefers. But she gave it to me, and not only that, even after I messed up, she like was grateful that she chewed me out because she was telling me exactly what I did wrong. So I went the next day and I tried to improve. And then I don't know, like I was saying, I didn't have the right equipment. I still stand by this statement. I didn't have the right equipment because if I sort of had a better idea what she wanted, I would have had prepared the equipment better, and I could have gotten better shots. Um, but I was shooting at. This is what it is, guys. Usually I shoot with a wide angle lens when I am doing vlogging. 25 millimeter. It's the lens I recommend if you just wanted an all-around lens for vlogging, because it needs to be wide enough where if you hold it out in front of you, you're not gonna like just see your eyeball, right? But when you're shooting something, it can't be so freaking wide like a GoPro. Like I want you to look at this, but it's just like a freaking speck in the in the whatever. So the 25 millimeter is, in my opinion, if you had to choose one focal length for vlogging, that is the best one. And since it's wide, the shakes and jitters don't show up as much. Plus, I usually shoot on 24 if I want to do a cinematic vlog, so where I'm like really trying to make it nice, or I do 30 frames per second at most because I'm shooting 4K. But because this is for new, she wanted me to shoot in 50K. And then I actually just got this 55 millimeter lens because I sort of wanted to do more like personal stuff. Because if you guys know, lately I've been vlogging a lot with this DJI Osmo Action, which, as a matter of fact, I'm not even gonna recommend getting a 25 millimeter for most of you. If you ask me, what is the one camera I should get for vlogging, it would be the DJI Osmo Pocket. I'm sorry, I said Osmo Action. I do have the Osmo Action as well. I would only get the Osmo Action, which is also Osmo Action 1, because the 2, it seems like it's overheating. There's a lot of issues. It's a very gimmicky one, so like it's just like for gimmicky B-roll. I wouldn't get that for main vlogging, but yeah, this one in the creator kit combo. I got this as a gift, so I didn't get the creator kit combo, but if you get the creator kit combo, it comes with a wide angle lens, even got like a wireless mic system, everything. So if you have just this will be the best starter. And actually, as a matter of fact, even before you do that, I just recommend you get an iPhone 12, 13. And more important than getting any other camera, I think the first thing you should do as a vlogger is get a MacBook Pro and future-proof yourself and get a MacBook Pro 14-inch right now. I think for the price to its processing power, everything, it's just great. And then pay like the $140 for Final Cut Pro, the editing software, because your phone and great editing is gonna get you a lot far than any like good camera lens, you know. And worst case scenario, you get burned out and you stop vlogging like a lot of people, you still end up with a pretty decent computer, you know. And if you already have a gaming PC, then I would just stick with the gaming PC and then just go with the more clunky like Premiere Pro and such. But at the end, in the long run, that doesn't pay, because if you're paying like 40, $50 a month for Premiere Pro, their subscription, then you're gonna end up paying the price of a M1 laptop in like a year or two. So this is why like it's like for a long time the value analysis, people saying, oh, MacBooks are overpriced, is just BS, because now MacBooks are very affordable for the performance they give. So anyways, that's just my little rant on it. Get a computer. But long story short, I went on this little side detour because this is something I'm gonna do another video about it, maybe on my main channel, because people keep asking me about this. So I was gonna talk about it, but I always shoot on 25, and if it's 25, it's wide, so you can't see the shakes less. Plus, if I'm shooting 24 frames per second, 30 frames per second, there isn't as many like jitters showing because it smooths it out, because there's less frames per second, less pictures per second being taken. But then when I shot with the 55 millimeter, I was like, and I was shooting at 50 frames per second, I could see every little micro jitter, and I became really self-conscious. Um, so yeah, that is why I went out and spent more money to get a 35 millimeter for situations like that. And I could see why Brandon Lee, the gimbal master, that is his main go-to lens, 35 millimeter. I've just been playing with it. I really love this focal length. If I was a photographer, the 35 millimeter, and I had to choose one lens, it would also be the 35 millimeter as well. I think I'm a 35 millimeter guy. Um, it's able to focus closer than the 55 millimeter, so I could get even more up close personal shots with the 35 millimeter. So I just didn't have the right gear, and the shake was far less noticeable. But whatever the case, she told me, and that experience allowed me to realize I needed a 35 millimeter to really shoot far more cinematic, better stuff. I don't know. I fucked up so much that I don't even expect her to use me on another job. But um, it's all good because as a filmmaker, like I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be able to experience that, to learn it, and improve. Because that's just my passion in life. You guys all know this already by now. It's not like try to retire cheap. It's not to get laid with as much girls as I want. It's like I know all of you guys all have your other MOs, but to me, it's to create interesting content, to put something out there that I'm proud of. Hopefully, other people like it, but to be honest with you, my priority is something that I'm proud of, that meets my standards, and see myself improving and getting there. Hopefully one day I get to the point of creating something that I could look at it and go, wow, I'm really proud of this. Because quite frankly, I get distracted by that because uh, there's other things I have to do to get to that means. Like I'm not the richest guy, so and YouTube doesn't pay that well. So I have to do a lot of, programs or make money doing other things or just turning out more quantity of YouTube to afford the gear to get me to what I want to shoot. So once I get the gear, then I'm able to practice and make it better. So hopefully you guys have been seeing an improvement in the quality. Um, there has been a lot of not a lot. One particular guy like constantly has been saying that my quality of my videos has been worse since I've been in Korea. And the feedback that I did get from this director made me think about that. And I don't think the quality of my video has gotten worse, but I have been working on another skill set of features. Um, in Thailand, because I can't fly a drone and I'm limited by pretty much one lens, the 25 millimeter, and I'm constantly with my girlfriend, I'm interacting with her. I was able to like focus on the more personal interactions because that's what I'm thinking, right? And the camera that I'm using, it does that. When I'm here in Korea, I'm driving a motorcycle, I'm having these adventures. I think they're fantastic, but it's ooh, hello, what's up, Mark Egner? Hello from Alaska. Good to see you on here. But yeah, continue. Are you planning on traveling to Thailand with all the good news? By the way, let me know that, and then maybe by the time I finish my my update, I'll know. But when I'm doing that, I have to use an action cam. I can't use like this camera right here. It's like I don't want to be one handling like a huge ass expensive camera with a freaking a $2,000 body with a plus $1,000 lens plus like a $3,500 equipment. That's not gonna happen. So I got very good at action cameras and stuff like this. It's a whole other skill set, and I haven't really touched my full frame for a while. And although it allows me to capture the action, and because I got a drone and I'm able to get really good scenery, um, my skills as like a videographer has really taken a hit. And I had this realization, you know, and I'm more focused on capturing like the environment than the personal side of things. And I think going forward this year, I'm gonna make a huge change to that. And I hope you guys like the direction that I'm gonna make the vlogs, because I yeah, to some degree I have to admit it wasn't as personal. It's more of like I think it's great if you're like if you need information on traveling out here, and that's sort of how I sort of shot it. Like I just wanted to show the landscape of Korea and just how beautiful it is. And I could still do more. There's just so much more I want to show of the landscape. But now that I've made more friends, having more personal interactions, I want to make that and focus on that just as much. And I'm still gonna bring my drone along and then shoot the landscape. So, but yeah, there's gonna be a different balance of how I shoot it, and just really improve myself, being able to document and capture like the personal interactions more. So that is what I plan on doing this year. And I invested a good deal of money on lenses. I mean, to tell you, I actually went sort of budget because I just need to get the lens for the job. This is a 35 millimeter f1.8. Uh, I was able to get this used. Like usually Korea, like these things are very expensive. But first of all, Sony doesn't charge a premium. It's almost the same as America. Um, but the used market is really expensive. But what happened is like the dollar just strengthened so much against the Korean won that counteracted the fact that the used market is much more expensive here in Korea. So I was getting these lenses for pretty affordable prices for what they are. I mean, this one I think I got for 600. Hey Siri, convert 600,000 South Korean won into US dollars. Oh, so this one I got for like 500 bucks. This is a Zeiss 55 1.8. This is the better of the lens. It's a lens I always wanted. It's beautiful, but I realize it's not that practical for videography. Although for photography, I love this focal length. I always wanted it, so fuck it. I'm gonna get it. This is what I spoiled myself with. And then because I realized that that's not as practical, I got the 35 f 1.8, and I think I paid like 550. So hey Siri, convert 550,000 South Korean won into US dollars. So I spent like 450. So both of these cost less than $1,000. The other option was I was gonna get the Zeiss Spatus 40 millimeter close focus. But I think I made the right choice getting these two. 40 millimeter is right in between, so it could serve dual purpose. But it also doesn't give the nice compression and the bokeh as this 55 millimeter. And the 35 millimeter just feels more natural to me. Whereas 40 millimeter, I don't know. I might still get the 40 millimeter one day. It's like a lens I always wanted. But I didn't see it for a good price. It was going to cost me like $1,000. So it was either that lens or these two. Yeah, so I got these two, and now I'm even more greedy and I want my footage to look even better. So if I'm just vlogging, I'm happy with this. But if I got more professional jobs, I am willing to invest more money to get the A7 IV for some better stabilization and a zoom lens if I do more documentary stuff, because it's really hard to be switching between primes. I mean, primes are great if I just had fixed shots or I knew what shots I'm doing, but when I'm filming docu, it's just you got to go wide and then go close really fast, and I need a zoom lens. It's just yeah. So it just sort of, one thing is, it did sort of rub me the wrong way. The director was like, it's not about the equipment. You can still get the shots and stuff, but it's like, but I know if I had the equipment, I'd like, because I was about to do the same shots, but I couldn't do it because of my equipment limitations. So if I just had a tad bit of stabilization help, it would have smoothed out everything. Because she showed me an example and she's like, this is so good. And I'm like, well, first of all, this is a stationary action scene where he had all the time to be able to shoot every angle he wanted. But like, I was shooting people that were taking selfies for like 5 seconds and leaving. So it's like a much harder assignment. Plus, I'm sure he had better equipment. And even if he didn't, I know what equipment I need to get the same quality of shots with my skill. So I don't get discounted as being not as good, you know. So but it's not my place to make excuses. I just need to deliver. And yeah, my vlogs are almost gonna be a practice of what I've learned. This is such great experience, and uh, I I think you'll be seeing the benefits of this. Just how I'm gonna do the shots, how much more stable and smooth the shots are gonna be, how much more personal it's gonna be. This is something I'm gonna be practicing, because reflecting on it, those aspects, even though I know about it, I guess I was too lazy to implement it in my vlogs, and that's what's missing. But it's easier said than done. Let's see what happens. That being said, though, I still got a ton of videos I need to release publicly. There's still like 5, 10 videos I haven't released publicly. So don't expect these changes to show up instantly. But all the stuff I'll be shooting from now on will be from that. I'm still waiting for this COVID madness to calm down. I dislike PCR tests. Okay, that's all good. I mean, man, I just got a PCR test yesterday. You hopped on a little late, but my cousin got Omicron. And I got the PCR test yesterday because I was with him. Like I was living with him. Uh, I came out negative though. It's not a big deal. The PCR test for me. Vaccines, that was just sort of more of a thing. I'm like, is this necessary? But it's like at this point, at least in the short term, it doesn't hurt. Who knows if I'll die of cancer or some weird thing 40 years from now or whatever. But yeah, it doesn't seem like it's something I can hold out for either. So I got all that done. Thing that annoys me actually more with Thailand is all the paperwork, and I have been hearing there's just so many hotels that say, okay, you can book us for this one night thing, and then they have to purchase a brand new packet because it doesn't include the limousine ride from the airport and the PCR test. So it's sort of like scammy. So yeah, but I mean, honestly, if it was like this in December, I would have done it. But now it's just sort of not worth it to go a month for me. And then it's just all the work I've been getting. It's just been so great. So, um, Right now I'm at a point where I'm just trying to build that part of my life up, becoming a better videographer where, I'm looking to get paid more than a couple $100 a shoot to a couple thousand. So, because money will help solve a lot of these issues in the future. And with the price of inflation, things are just gonna get more expensive. I trolled too much before, but I honestly respect that everyone's path is different. Still a fan here. Yes, your videos need to be more personal, showing more of your life. Ooh, okay. Oh, thanks, Renaissana. I appreciate that. It takes a man to admit a lot. I appreciate it. But yeah, I completely respect everything. Your path as well. You know that because um, I'm the first one to admit I don't know the optimal path to take. So I know what works for me, what I'm happy with, and I couldn't be happier. But yeah, everything's sort of going. That's what I think I like about life, the lifestyle that I'm living. Ever since I stopped trying to control everything, I feel like I'm in the right place at the right time. Like a lot of my friends have been commenting on this, and they're like, I think you just sort of don't attract stress. Like your lifestyle doesn't attract stress. Like you don't have the commitments or take on the commitments, that will stress you out. And to some degree, that's true, yeah. But it's not that I don't take on responsibilities. There's some responsibilities that I take on that are really stressful, but it's not stressful if you enjoy it. Like for example, the shoot I went on, um, I knew I was sort of ill prepared for it, but I just had to do it because it would be great experience. And then I wish she just looked at my footage at 1 p.m. Because I sent it to her around 10 a.m. and I don't know when it was, but it's like she just got back to me in a few hours and said, you need the more personal shots because I was more focused on like the picture profiles and other stuff because I was so insecure about that. I could have gotten her some really good footage. But I didn't make excuses for it because I felt like, as a filmmaker, I should have already known. This was just sort of a wake up call for me because I reflected on my vlogs and I'm like, it hasn't been as personal lately because I'm so focused on capturing the scenery, which is a lot of freaking work. It's like there's only so much limited time, especially like the tours I'm doing. If it's a trip, I'm with a bunch of like photo taking Instagrammers, so they only give me like 5 minutes, 10 minutes at each location. So I have to prioritize. Am I gonna get an amazing like a drone shot of this area, or am I going to like have fun and like joke around with these kids and get you something personal? And you know, I lean on getting a nice drone shot. I probably still will if I'm under those time constraints. But that's why this year I think I wanna I'm definitely like I'm not gonna sign up for as many programs. Uh I think I'll do one that pays decent. I want to get the one for Incheon because that one is a consistent, like I think last year it was like $200 per shoot, and it was like more of an open format. Sometimes you travel in a group, but they just say, "Here's a location. This is like a new tourist attraction. Check it out. Do a natural vlog about it." And that's what I would do. That's sort of more in line with what I would want to do, and it would give me plenty of time to arrange who to go with, have the personal interactions, like with what I did with Mayu, and get those drone shots as well, etc. So I'm like this because it's a bit cold. Because it was so hot, I took off my jacket, and now it's a bit cold. Hey. Yikes. Okay, so I'm gonna put on my little sweater. So did I? I didn't show you that. Look at this. So I did that. I said in the beginning I hiked, and look at. Oh, that's not it. Where is it? What? Where's that video? But I got all this cool merch. This is part of the merch. The Korea trekking sweater. It's pretty cool. I like this backpack that I got. Only in Korea do you get paid to do what you love. Like that's what I love about Korea, you know. Uh it's like pretty much impossible in Thailand because of the work permit issue, or it's just harder to do it. It's less flexible because the only jobs, like, first of all, you can't get, even there is, it's illegal to have job in sort of tourism. You can't be a tour guide. People are like, why don't you get a tour guide? It's illegal to be a tour guide as a foreigner because that is like a job that's reserved for only Thais. So they don't even offer a legal pathway to do it as a foreigner. So there's less of that restriction here. Given if you go on the expat sites and stuff, that's one of the main complaints. Oh, the visa here in Korea. But I could tell you objectively from somebody who's dealt with the visa system in Thailand and in Korea that I don't think the expats in Korea are whiners, because to them, they're ignorant. So yes, it is annoying if you're coming from America or wherever where you have no work permit visa restrictions because you're a citizen there, and you come to Korea and you have to first deal with it. Then it seems like a big deal. But for somebody that's been in Thailand, they just seem like whiners to me, But I can appreciate where they're coming from. But I'm just telling you, you're gonna, like, based on what you read, it would seem like it's whatever. But I've gone on these expat forums and I'm like, well, that's not as bad as this, because in Thailand it's like, and they're like, really? I didn't know that. But it's like, yeah. All right, so let's see. One can die any day. Look at Kobe Bryant. Money doesn't do much except give you false sense of security and superiority. Just do what you want to do now. Yeah. Lots of YouTubers are fleeing Thailand. Where am I going to get my fix? Are YouTubers fleeing Thailand? Because they've gone back. Like, yeah, I noticed that No Time to Be Sad, he went back. What was that guy? Retire Working for You, he went back, right? All these guys are going back. What's up? Oh, George! Glad Korea is treating right. George, what's up? George is the cinematographer extraordinaire. You guys should check out his channel, guys. I don't know if you can click on it and go to his channel, but he is like my role model, inspiration. The more I learn about videography, the more I'm impressed with his work. Like, you can't appreciate it as much without the eyes of what is expected. and now I can appreciate it more. I'm like, oh, that shot was hard. He really thought about that. So now I see it in a different light. So check him out, guys, and encourage him to make more videos, because I think he deserves a lot of views. Like, his views are low because he's such a perfectionist. He doesn't put out enough content, but yeah, it's so good. Hey, Ronin-sana, you'll like it because he has, I don't know if he uploaded it on there. George, did you upload that documentary about the Pattaya ladyboys and stuff on your YouTube channel? I think you did. Or I don't know if you just gave it to me. I don't know if you just gave it to me separately in a link. Oh, I think you did on Vimeo because he didn't like the compression on YouTube. Ah, that's right. Can you put a link to your Vimeo on there? George. Why can't I spell the why I'm having a brain fart in Korea. Yamamoto. Oh, there's a famous George Yamamoto channel. No, I want to show your stuff. Not yet. Ah, okay. Haven't put that up yet. Ah, okay. It's so good though. It's like he shot this docu-series on it. Um, but yeah, actually George shouldn't be making YouTube videos. Like honestly, with that quality, he should have been shooting something for Netflix. By the way, guys, something I recommend that y'all check out. Midnight Asia, and this is for everybody, whether you like. I think this is great because they cover like nightlife in all the countries that you're sort of interested in. You know, episode 2 is Seoul, but I'm pretty sure they have Bangkok. They have Philippines for sure. I don't have time to watch all of them. They have Tokyo, all this, and it's sort of like it's a docu series. But the way, at least the one in Korea was shot, it was shot like 5 vlogs put together, like 5 high quality vlogs. If I like had to think about how to shoot a vlog, and I was like, oh, this would be the ideal like 10-minute vlog or 8-minute vlog, that would be what I think that is. And then they just sort of combined it with all these different stories, and then that became like a 30-40 minute docu-series on Seoul. And then there's another one of Philippines. And I think this gives you like sort of an in-depth look at, you know, the culture and life in Korea, which again points back to me just really critiquing myself. And I'm like, I didn't do enough of this, you know, because although I don't think I'm shy, I am pretty shy. It's been hard to like just, but I'm gonna really get myself to go out there. Like, let's say I'm drinking at a bar or something, I will go and try to interview people, like ask them. This was something that she pointed out. I'm like, you know, I don't want to be too much of a creeper and getting these creeper shots. She's like, why don't you just ask? You know, they're having fun, they're enjoying, they'll most likely let you film. And I'm like, oh, really? And then the next day I asked, and then they still didn't let me film. But you know what? I'm just gonna have this positive mindset that they're gonna let me film them. So I'll try to do it more, and then get you this more personal look. And the reason why these documentaries worked, obviously, is because they got the budget. Yeah, if I had the budget and time, I would like arrange and you know, pay the money I need to interview these people and get as much close in that personal shots as I ever want, you know, and tell them to pose or whatever. Um, but I'll just have to do it because this is if I could make, this is sort of my goal now, like to make docu-series about like different aspects of life in Korea or whatever country I visit in this manner. Obviously, in the beginning, it's not going to be anywhere near as good because, you know, I'm a YouTuber. It doesn't need to be that good anyways, first of all. Second of all, yeah, it's gonna take a lot of work, like arranging for interviews and stuff on the fly. Like when I'm out, it's like really hard to just ask a random person, "Hey, what's up? You know, could you tell me about what?" Like, maybe I'm just making this up in my head. I'm gonna stop making excuses and I'm gonna try to shoot it like this. Okay, so that is what I want you guys to watch if you do have time, and let me know if this is like a good direction you think you know, my channel should aspire to be, because I'm not gonna claim that I'm gonna get anywhere near there anytime soon, but it's sort of become my inspiration, you know. So that's why I went and I shot a photo set actually of I don't have it here. Okay, never mind. I have it capture one. Here it is. Check Ooh, I think George checked it out already, but oh, I need to show the other photos I didn't release. But yeah, I'm gonna start out. I'm also like taking a lot more pictures, like street photography pictures. Um, because I sort of just need to do what I do in the pictures because, you know, I could just snap a pic, a personal shot like this in 1/200th of a second. It's just hard to like be more like I'm gonna be like shamelessly shoot it for a good 5 to 10 seconds. You know what I'm saying? But this is just good practice, and it's also like harder to do this when I'm just chilling with friends and I'm just exploring. Um, hey, hold up, like 10 seconds here, or 30 seconds, including me adjusting all the camera settings, while I take this B-roll. So this is good. I like taking photos. I also need to up my Instagram game because I realized for these jobs, like some of the programs, I'm making a freaking 10-minute vlog and somebody's taking 5 pictures and we're getting paid the same amount of money. You know, so I just got to be smarter about this. So I got to up my Instagram game out here. Um, yeah. So guys, if you're not already, hop on Instagram, hop on Facebook, or if you don't have to sign up for an account, my accounts are public, so you can just check this out. Um, yeah, but this is, by the way, Mule district, and it's the closest like hipster trending area like that's near where I live with my cousin. I like this area. But a lot of these hipster areas are popping up. Like if I was to think of hipster area in Bangkok, it's like there's Ari, and then there's like Soy Nana over by Chinatown. That's sort of happening now. I think before I don't know. Like I think they're trying to revamp that area. What's that area like near Icon Siam? What's that? Thonburi? Is it Thonburi area? Those areas. Korea has these kinds of hipster areas too. This is Mule. This certainly isn't the biggest one, but I think it's one of the more quirky ones because it's located right next to, like, as you can see, like a lot of these machine factory working areas. So yeah, I'm really liking it. I didn't have that much time. I was just uh, it's just there's a bus stop, and I just thought, hey, I'm just gonna get off this bus and walk like 30 minutes and take these shots. Um, You know, one of these, maybe I should just go out there with a tripod and just shoot this sort of like as a ASMR video. I know like the walking ASMR videos are very popular, but I just had another idea. Instead of walking ASMR videos, maybe I could just do very stable shots of different scenes. God damn, why didn't I think of that? Because I don't like to do what everybody else is doing. And you guys have seen I've done walking videos, but just the quality is just so much better if I shoot it on my full frame. Oh, by the way, guys, this here is the red light district. Red light districts still do exist in Korea. Like people have been always asking me, but you know, this is like, by the way, like a very popular area. This is Yeongdeungpo. This is Times Square, one of the biggest malls right here, and it's literally right next to it. And you'll see like these pink lights. When did I go? This was what time? It was like I never look at the metadata. It was 6:42. It was only 6:42. So what I found interesting was the other day I was walking through here really late, and I didn't expect it to be open because there's like a 9-10 p.m. curfew on restaurants and stuff. And also like karaoke bars and stuff, definitely. But I was like walking through here like at 10 or 11, I forgot, and it was just packed full of girls. This was it a weekend? What is it? January 26th? Hey Google, what day of the week is January 26th, 2022?
The 26th of January.
It was Wednesday. Okay, so it was a weekday.
On a Wednesday.
Maybe I was walking through there on a weekend. I don't know. But I was surprised it was open. I'm like, why wouldn't they close this down? But I don't know. Prostitution is technically illegal in Korea. So I think the way they do this is, you know, there's laws against search and seizure and stuff like this in Korea. So I think like they just claim that this is like the residence, although it's clearly a prostitution thing. It's like clear windows with pink lights, you know, like with them just like displaying themselves. And then when they see someone, it's like a residence, so they're just having people come over as a residence. And unless they could catch them in the act of exchanging money, technically that's legal. I don't know how this works. I'm just guessing that's what it is, but then there wouldn't be a curfew. This is really interesting. I'm actually curious about this. I should make a documentary of it, but this is not something that would go well. But yeah, that's what it is. It's like these machine shops, and they're working on it, husband and wife. Yeah. What is this? I'm going backwards. I'm repeating myself. Okay. Well, I'm gonna set up the other photo set. I'll be making another video public. How did that Spanish-speaking girl get so big? Just copy her format. She got big, and then she's like nothing now. So you can't copy people's formats because YouTube's algorithm keeps changing. And right now, you know, the reason she got big, I'll tell you why, is when she started vlogging 5 years ago as a Spanish speaker in Korea, there weren't that many Spanish speaking YouTubers in Korea. And she had a team of people she was shooting with, two other Spanish speaking guys. And so now she doesn't have that team anymore. And then number two, there's just a lot more Spanish speaking YouTubers, so there's more niche content available, so you're gonna get your big pie cut off. And the other thing too is the way that YouTube algorithm works is they push your content to your existing viewers first. And like she's so big, like most of the Spanish influencers out here have know of her, you know, and they used to watch her, and they're like, you know, now I'm just at an age where her content doesn't interest me. So YouTube wants you to do the same kind of content over and over again because your viewers generally want the same kind of content from you. So like I'm getting hit because I'm making videos about Korea, and a lot of you guys aren't interested in Korea. You just want to watch Thailand, so you're not going to click on it. So there's that. But you also need to, if it's over like a period of 5 years, you need to evolve with your content and your audience. And there's just like, she just has a disconnect of what her audience wants right now. And she's in the process of discovering that. So she's just as clueless as I am as to how to grow the channel. We've had many talks about this. So yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I mean, she draws just as much inspiration from me as I do from her. She got the Osmo Pocket because I was vlogging with it. She's like, oh my gosh, I need that in my channel. Like she copied a lot more of what I did than I have, because My audience isn't Spanish, and this is something. Yeah, this is my plan, guys. Let me tell you my plan to grow big if I was to copy her. Her strategy is to get content in a big market, right? That speaks her language. Spanish, like the Spanish speaking market is huge. Like it's very easy for Spanish speaking YouTubers in Korea to make it big because there's not relative to the amount of viewers and people interested in Korea, there is not that many Spanish speaking YouTubers in Korea. So even though her share is still smaller, it's still pretty freaking good. And everybody else that just sort of does average videos, they're big too. So what do I need to do? What I did wrong is every big travel vlogger that just covers general Asia has always traveled to India and Philippines. This is a common knowledge between YouTubers that do travel content. You need to travel to Philippines and India to get your viewers because that is the largest speaking English demographics in Asia. And before I sort of focused on English speaking Americans and catering to you guys and your needs. But I don't know. It's just lately I feel like you guys aren't as interested in me as much. So I need to diversify. So yeah, I've been considering, hey, when COVID's over, I'm gonna go to India, make vlogs there, upload there, get that audience. That's a huge market. And then the Philippines as well. Because now making money off YouTube is less viable than the sponsorships that you get off of YouTube. So I made far more money creating content for other people this year than creating content for myself on YouTube. It's a fact. Like the videos that I made the most money, it's not on my YouTube channel. I mean, let me show you where it is. I did a couple videos for this channel, Chambuk TV, I think it's called. They pay me about $1,000 per video. Oh, this one here. I made this one. Walking video of Kunsan. Honestly, I couldn't have filmed it on a worse day, but they just needed me to film it, and I had the technical skills to do it. And they can't find anyone better at $1,000. So they're really happy with me, actually. If they get this program again, they'll probably shoot me again. Although I had to like heavily edit this because there was this requirement that they don't want license plate numbers showing up. So if like a license plate number showed up real close, I cut it. Like I jump cut it. But they're still happy with it. Whatever. I'm the only person that commented on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But yeah, this is what I did. I did another one. I almost don't want to show you guys because it was I just shot it in like a very bad time. Oh, this is a playlist. Hold on. Then Namwon. Oh, this other one right here. This was me. You can actually see me in there. Yep. This is good. Amazing. Oh, somebody comment on that. That's great. Yeah. Kunsan is a pretty cool area though. When it warms up, I definitely want to visit there again. And I went on this trip too. Where's the eating one? Oh, I made this video too for them. They're like, why'd you make the video so good? And I'm like, yeah, it's so simple. It's like a 2-minute video. I think I made this one public on my channel too, didn't I? Did I make this public on my channel? I believe I made this one public on my channel because they're like, it's okay if you also upload on your channel. How have you been to India before? I find it a little intimidating. Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't intimidating, I would have already been there. I'm like so interested in the culture, like it's so rich in history, right? Like Buddhism originated from there. It's just I'm really interested in Indian culture and the food. Although I'm like really intimidated by the sanitary situation because every one of my friends go there and they like suffer food poisoning. That's like the worst ever. And like if people who have experienced food poisoning on a regular basis in Southeast Asia go to India and say, no, that's not even considered food poisoning. This is real food poisoning. I was like sick for a week. Like in Thailand, you just sort of have like a mild symptom, like yeah, you're sort of sick, you have a headache for like a day, for me at least, and I'm over it. But in India it's like a week, so it's intimidating. But oh my gosh, I love the food, like I love Indian food. So yeah, I really want to go, and so does my girlfriend Mayu. And I'm like afraid to take her there because I'm like I just hear about all the violence against women there. I mean, it's probably all made up. It's probably not as bad if I actually go there, but yeah. I mean, luckily we do have family friends there. So I'll probably start out in that area. And India is also intimidating and just how big the country is. I mean, not just like the size wise, but there's just so many different regions with so many different. Oh, it's just this is like Myanmar was even less intimidating than that, but that's eventually why I didn't go because I'm like, oh, I need at least a month to cover everything there is to cover there to even just like not like the degree that I'm satisfied with, but the degree that I believe you know is a series. And I never went, and now look at the situation. I could never go. So like, that's the thing about life, guys. Renaissance hit up on it. You never know. Like Kobe Bryant, like you just gotta do it. So if there's something you really want to do, you just really gotta do it. That's sort of how I'm seeing it. There's of course a balance. I don't have money, so I gotta make money first. But yeah, thankfully I've been able to save a little bit of money, which I'll probably now spend all on gear, hoping that I can make even more money. So there's this balance. That's why I'm holding off on buying the A7 IV right now, and like a nice zoom lens, because I would need to be sure I'm gonna be getting consistent jobs, and right now is not the season for the jobs. So I don't know. Like I have promises, I have connections, but I don't know if they'll pan out next year because you never know. So I don't count on that. But one thing I can count on is, you know, if I have this money, I could definitely travel and make amazing content, Taiwan, Japan, all these countries. So gotta do it. Exactly. The sanitary factor scares me. Yeah. But to be fair, sanitary situation in Thailand scared me until I got there. I'm like, it's not that bad. So um that's what I'm hoping with India. But I'm gonna ease my way into it. There's just so many countries, and it's like crazy as it is, I still haven't gone to the Philippines or even Malaysia. So those are like more on top of my list because it doesn't scare me as much. And um, I feel like the longer we go, the more sanitary and safer India will become because it's a developing country. So that's why it's not like a priority due right now. Um, Although I heard the Taj Mahal or something is gonna disappear or something. So if that's the case, I might just go and at least cover that. But India is a country I'm okay like putting in the back burner because I think it'll be actually better later on. Because India is super affordable, you know. I don't need it to be any more affordable. I don't mind paying more for it to be more sanitary and safe. So that's why it's sort of in the back burner. Um, China actually is maybe more up on my list because I feel like um their the policing and their ability to track down your content and profile you, that's just getting even better. So I don't know, unless some huge changes happen there, which I'm not going to hold my breath for. It'll probably become more dangerous for me to travel there later on. So China is actually before India. Philippines, like these countries, Malaysia, they're just easy. Like I'm totally comfortable going there right now. So yeah. Oh, I'm sorry guys. By the way, the squeaking sound, it picks it up really a lot, huh? But yeah, it is what it is. I can't afford another chair. I spent all my money on lenses. Yeah, but anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. Thanks so much for hopping on and chatting with me. Um, so I try to do like a pretty long video to have you guys catch up with what I've been doing, where my life's at, and you know, if you've hopped on late, summarize, yeah, Thailand looks like it's gonna be getting better. Um, if I mean, right now, if you had to choose between coming to Korea or Thailand, now I could like before I would say hey, you're gonna do the same like 10-day quarantine, come to Korea because it's more reliable. You know, you're gonna pay the same amount of money. Once you're here, there's less restrictions, but now I would highly recommend that you go to Thailand or right now my friends are actually they're planning to go to the Philippines because apparently it's less restrictions. So yeah, like like right about now is a good time to start planning to travel if you don't have any other commitments like I do. Your channel is very eccentric. You need a certain formula to follow to build an audience. Look at Mark Wayne's. It's like McDonald's. Yeah, this is actually completely true. Uh, yeah, the formula. The formula. The formula. Anyways, yeah, that's for another time. Yeah, it's not that I don't know. It's just harder to do it. Um, yeah. Yep. Anyways, yep. Thanks for hopping on, guys, and we'll chat later. What I will try to do though is maybe do more shorter streams. Since I'm gonna be in Korea so often, I am thinking about upgrading my phone plan. So I'll just do live streams on location. I mean, that would certainly be more interesting. The reason I haven't been able to live stream as much, guys, is because when I'm with my cousin, like I'm like working all day or shooting or I have other commitments, and then I get home. I'm so tired, I just fall asleep, or even if I don't, um, it's already like 1 a.m. and I don't want to like wake up my cousin like doing a live stream. You know what I'm saying? So here it's like my parents are deeper sleepers, and they don't like have to get up early or whatever. So I do it, but yeah. So that's the reason why I haven't been able to do live streams as much. But you guys have always been on the back of my head. You know, I always appreciate your support for my channel. I just there's not enough words to give you appreciation. Oh my gosh, I just realized my face is not showing up because I see my face on the bottom of the screen, so I thought if it's like, but I just had this like same scene forever. So yeah, I really appreciate all the support and you know, just feel free. Like I chat with a lot of you guys all the time on Instagram and Facebook because it's like I'm able to like respond more quickly in those shorter blips or whatever. Um, and I definitely update you guys a lot more on there. Um, but yeah, I'll try to do a better job this year. Although I think even with my better effort. It'll just be about the same because it looks like I'll have more commitments this year. So tis life. Tis life. Yeah. So thanks, guys. Ooh, George, thanks for the kind words, Ethan. Listening to you as I drive. Oh, cool. I see. I see. So you couldn't see me anyways. It's all good. Oh yeah, George. Yeah, definitely check this guy out. I really wanted to start YouTubing. Yeah. I think I have a better chance of succeeding on YouTube working for George than I have doing my own channel. Because lately, yeah, just YouTube, these travel vlogs, personal vlogs, it's so saturated. It's hard to really stand out. So it's not very sustainable in the long term. I do have a review channel, and I might be converting it to like more of an amateur video review channel for vloggers. Because I guess that is one area that I'm also very experienced at, being a amateur vlogger. As much as I'm experienced in living and traveling in Asia, but YouTube seems to be pushing those kinds of content more. And people are just more interested in that kind of content more. I think it's like common knowledge now. The world has become so connected. So much of us, and this is good news, so much of us have gone out there and vlogged about the world that, I think I'm gonna have to wrap up my mission. In the beginning, like, I clearly knew what I wanted to, the messaging that I wanted to do with my channel, and this is the messaging I have constantly been doing, but it's not that I don't want to, but I think it's just old news now. So I need to definitely change the direction of my channel. And that's why I said it's going to be more personal, because in the beginning it was about informing you guys that, just look at the scenery here, just look at my experiences. There is a great big world out there, and you could travel, and there's so much to do. I think I've done a good enough job of it. I've inspired many people to now do that. And it's old news, like more so like Korea too, because there's plenty of Korean YouTubers now. It was interesting because I'm showing an audience other than the Korea boos about a different aspect of Korea that, even a guy like me that isn't into like BTS and all this K-pop stuff, there's so much and plenty for me to do that I was that I think you guys got the messaging. If by now you're not convinced, it's just not for you. So I accept that. And I don't think there's any other country I can go where somebody hasn't already done this, really, other than just bringing you guys along. And obviously an element of my videos will always have that, because you guys are going through my journey of discovering. So although there's other vloggers that have, introduced areas to you, I'm always gonna be new at it if it's the first time I go somewhere, and it will subconsciously come out, me saying, hey, this is a great place to travel, or whatever it's good at. Korea is great for travel, working. Thailand's great for just retiring, traveling like this, and who knows what the other countries will be good at. But I think I will, because it's like old news now. I think everyone should know. America's sort of boring, sucks, you should travel. I think I sort of want to do more like docu-series on more specific topics that make a country unique. not with the intention of trying to tell you guys this is a great country for you to come out and live and retire in. Um, but just because it's what I'm curious about, you know, and you could vicariously experience, the adventure that I have of exploring unique topics and things. So, yeah, there we go. Yeah. So I if I have free time, I will do that. But until I have enough sponsors and stuff, and I can call the own shots, I'm still gonna have to do a lot of travel videos. But I also don't mind because I travel and there's a story there, anyways. Maybe if I really look into doing the personal stuff, maybe I'll find it. I never really thought about it that way when I traveled, but maybe I can. Initially, it will be, I guess, the unique perspective of each of the people that I'm traveling with. But hopefully, I get to a point where I could call the shots on who I'm meeting and talking to and interviewing the locals, unique perspective of life there. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking now. But I might be in like a little bubble just because I was just shooting docuseries with my friend. Because the other thing I was thinking is um the other really popular videos on my channel is just like practical stuff about living here, like the logistics, like how do you rent an apartment, how much is it gonna be, like more of a guide, less of a experience kind of vlog, more like a informative stuff. Because I would think there's a lot of that stuff, but there isn't. Like I made a half-ass video about getting a driver's license in Korea, and it's my most popular Korean video. And my video that I did like 7 years ago in Thailand, how to get a driver's license in Thailand. That's like still my most popular Thai video. So yeah, that's the other thing I could do. I don't know. I don't know if I'll listen to you guys. I'll just do what I feel like, but I would like to know your opinions of it. Um, what do you think? Which direction is better? More of guides, boring, nothing cinematic, just instructional videos, or this kind of docu-series kind of thing that I'm thinking about, where I try to cover more unique personal aspects of the places I'm in, you know. Um yeah, this is tough. I don't know what I should do either. And yeah, for now, I'll be doing a little bit of everything. So it comes down to I'm not gonna follow the formula. I already shot a video on because I got a lot of comment. A lot of people like troll my video when I did with Tad, and I said, "Oh, you can get a place for $500, like $2,000 deposit." And they're like, "If you go to the center of Seoul, it's gonna cost way more, and you're gonna have to do like $20,000 in deposit." And I went with a student, my friend Leah, and I think her deposit was $1,000, and she's paying like $250 a month. Like it's even less in the center of Seoul. And like I said, it's bigger than even what Tad got, but it's older. That's what I was expecting. That's the trade-off. It's older, but it's bigger, and it's even less. So yeah, I need to make that video just because I'm just so annoyed with these guys, like ignorant dudes just saying, "Oh, if it's in the center of Seoul, it's gonna be so much more." And I'm like, no, it's really affordable to live in Seoul, even in Seoul. But you can expect to pay even less than that if you went outside of Seoul, for sure. Yeah. So it is what it is. Okay, so I'm gonna really wrap up. All right, guys. Bye bye.